The first poem that I'm doing is a poem entitled I Refuse, and I wrote it several years ago, and it was sort of a controlled venting about my identity and the way that it was shaped by culture and the way that it pushed against culture. So here's that. Trees climb me while watering my wings weighed down with carbon. I'm drowning a bucket with the base of life before you kick it. Thump, thump, thump. Listen to the submarine revelation. Wherein lies her lies infinitely as an infant. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. It's all in your lead. Bang, bang, semi-automatic fun, shooting holes in my lungs so I can breathe underwater, so I can swim to my deathbed in these guys. These guys are raping my androgyny, telling me what to be when all I want to be is to be me. Made up mirrors reflecting your disgust, a catalyst for your construct, constructed only for the purpose to deconstruct a function, tear it up, tear it down to the ground in the shape of a frown, but I'm smiling. It doesn't matter if it's genuine because you're not seeing it anyway. Your eyelids that you painted black and white can't see it anyway. Because while you were pushing kids down on the playground, I was dressing up and singing into a tiny plastic microphone attached to a cassette recorder, and I wrote songs about monsters and love and about brothers I never had because I wanted a male to love but never had one. Paternal eclipse, the shadowy eternal ellipses showing me what's in store, but this liquor store has been robbed at Phallus Point. And while you were wrestling with your dad in the backyard, I was wondering when mine would get out of jail. And while you were playing football with the neighborhood boys, I was already confused as to why I had no preference for the sexuality I was experiencing with the boys and the girls. And I am not rejecting all of your masculinity, I just refuse to accept it. The status quo has got to go as status quo design around your genital status, ignoring generations of quarter-wise people from every apparatus. Stop raping my androgyny. My mind is open, but that doesn't mean you can dump your shit into it. Pump, 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 cock, 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 pump, 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 cock, cock, cock. And I have dreams of things that you make me ashamed of, but I just yearn for the actions, not the person. My dreams always seem to dismember body parts of incestuous revulsion and desire until we can pretend that it doesn't exist. And before this, I was taught by who I suspect was a rape victim. What the fuck is wrong with my house? And I am not sexually confused, only amused, and you can keep raping my androgyny, my identity, but you will not leave a bruise. And I'm standing in a restaurant bathroom, checking my makeup, and the door swings open, so I immediately wash my hands because I'm afraid for them to see me liking me in the way I like being seen. Can you see me? Do you see me? Will you see me? What will you see when you see? I stand before you as a weak but growing incarnation of that which our elders reject and attempt to protect while the pink lady screams, fight, 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 that's right. That which is right is worth undergoing plight because all of the world is cold and dark and filled with the pseudo-righteous. We can see the light. It is not the light you see, it's on a different frequency. It permeates those who seek to be free of a toxic culture. I'm only hazardous to an insecure immune system. Abuse systems that are inherently discriminate of identities created by the reflections of those very systems which systematically hold us down and tell us how we must live in order to be free, how we must live in order to see a world that appears secure. Yet we walk on pins and needles, allowing that which is feeble to stab the bottoms of our feet. Stop pretending this is all divine when it's all assembly line. I'm not bending natural law, only a theory. Don't show your teeth when all I want is something healthy. This isn't about me. This is about all of us, so please don't show your teeth. Don't make them worth busting out of your head. I just want freedom. I just want love. Where you see chaos, I see stopped loss. So please don't show your teeth. Thank you. Thank you. For my next one, I'm really bad at doing this, so take a moment to plug myself real quick. Again, my name's Chris. I'm a writer, musician, producer. I have some business cards over here with information and some free CDs. One is a sort of a collection of all my work, and then another is a sampler from an album that I just put out that is pretty different than what we're doing tonight. It's a sort of psychedelic, progressive, electronic album. But if anyone's interested, please come by and grab a couple of those. The next poem I'm doing is a poem that I wrote in response to reading Joyce Carol Oates' Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been, if anyone has read that. And this is called This Ain't Your Daddy's House. A friendly devil like death, age, mass, deceptive hell. Come here, little girl, little like you are, like I want you to think that you aren't. Pile of automechanical metal reflecting sin, waiting for innocence, such a darling hymen to be destroyed by our terror. Wincing tulips bit, one not to scream, one not to scream. Girl, this is what you are, slut, you bear the scar of me, you're the meat for me to eat. Ouija dances, fumbling zippers, playful whimsy, virgin stumble. Little girl, this is what you wanted. No, it's not, I swear. Pile of cultural mechanical poison contaminating the soul water. An emotional aerosol can. This is pure zone depletion. Flinching, two breaths grabbed, one out of instinct, one out of instinct. You thought it was innocent, didn't realize you were delicate. You'll never deserve this part, it's just a part of who you are. You set out the bait, it's consumed as you will be, a gunshot for a white lie. I am the gentleman by which you will die. This is a formality, excusing morality. This is the industry, like infant mortality. This is the moon, is the sky, is the sun, is the fabric of minds in which need to unwind, fabric of time in which seems to bind. And I don't have to wait. Your abundance is great. You're everywhere. I don't have to wait for you. I'll ruin you either way. I have the power to whatever you want to do. Long sleeves for a razor. I am the world in which you must survive. This is the anarchy of plastic sexuality, and so theatrically I'll display it publicly. But just a few care and even fewer cry while you just die between your thighs and eyes. Value placed on what a mirror can supply. Plexiglass in which reflects our lies. This is who you are. This is who we all are. You'll never deserve this part, but yours is a discarded heart. Thank you. I have one remaining one. Similar topic. I read it in response to a book that's called Reviving Ophelia, and it's about Western culture and sort of the way that it shapes adolescence in our culture. So, can you feel the pressure? Of course you can. They use their eyes to measure you like a grain of sand. Their judgments are like weather, a million occur, but it takes just one to take a hold of your life and cut like a knife, but like a pulse-hating jackhammer. It goes on and on and on, and you can't walk those halls without feeling like you're on stage. It's Miss America, and you're the star today. You signed up when you grew up, and when you mess up, then your time's up, so you better not be playing, and you better discipline yourself to the point that you've gone insane. You better not show the scar at the tip of your finger. They'd eat you if they knew you had pain. You fight and fight to be liked, and if you win, well, then you're dead. That happiness is in your head, and you've lost your self-respect. The model is getting thinner and thinner, while the reality is getting bigger and bigger, and the incongruencies are making girls go to such measures. They've got Anna and Mia telling them it's for the better. But then you go home to watch some TV, you turn it on to see a sex scene, then you realize it's just advertising, a perfume that'll lead straight to the act that you've been taught it's supposed to be sacred, yet it's exploited so much and you can't bear to take it. But the television's there more than your parents, and things sink in the more that you hear them. 7 minutes from mom, 5 minutes from dad. While deep down you know that you wish that you had more things to say to them than you do to your cat. And you're drinking and smoking, they call it rebellion, and they're telling you this, but all the while yelling. And then maybe one day, if you're all lucky, you all will sit down and find all of this funny, that all of this time you thought you all were dysfunctional. It really was a culture, what you're a product of. But I know it's so hard not to do what the culture tells you, so you submit with a razor on you, or you protest to all of its demands by hurting yourself more with your bare hands than the culture ever had planned, or you cry out for someone to help by being extreme as your way to yell, or you fight for some way to regain control by hurting yourself when you're alone. Of every psychological disorder, anorexia is the hardest to ensure that its victim will survive, that its victim will be alive, to live a life dissatisfied, to live everything, to live a life where they can control more than they're eating, to live a life where they're not competing with a culture that waits like a vulture, just waiting to devour, just waiting to turn the story sour. In a world gone cold, you just got Lanugo to keep you tightly wrapped around what is left of your soul. Can you live in this world, overweight in a girl, and feel good in a culture that says you're ugly despite your worth? Outer beauty is absolutely the most routinely looked at quality, and when it becomes normal to be unnaturally thin, then it becomes an objective to do unnatural actions. Growing up needs to be about more than things that can harm us. Spend that money, smoke, drink. When you grow up, you can do all of these things, and you can be on TV, and you can be reduced to a body and show you're grown up and spontaneous and free and influence more without hypocrisy. You have to understand the example it's setting. You have to understand the message it's sending. The media is portraying women as sex fiends, and men are influenced to believe all these things. The majority of males admit there is times in which consent is not needed to have sex with a woman, and this is what the culture has told them. Ladies by day, whores by night. This is what is portrayed as right, and the men who pressure them to have sex are revered for completing their manly quest, but the girls are reduced and called sluts, a double standard that's never been touched. 1 in 4 of all women are raped. 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 Such a thing needs to be thought of as being as extreme as necrophilia or bestiality. Such a thing needs to be extinct if we're going to have a change in society, if we're to change children healthfully, properly, equally, respectfully, correctly. And here I am, a male, now old enough to call myself a man, and I'm doing my best to understand where you're coming from and where you stand. And I hope that one day we are equal. I hope that one day you can walk alone at night without fear. I hope that one day people don't know what rape is. I hope that one day you don't feel pressure to look a certain way. I hope that one day you can all eat normally. I hope that one day our businesses and politics will accurately represent you. I hope that one day you're not afraid to be smart. I hope that one day our schools have stories about women written by women. I hope that one day we can all be proud. I hope for that.